Why do you need a second aircraft carrier in the Middle East? Well, this isn't a rotation. This is a convergence. When these two behemoths of nuclear aircraft carriers meet, they will form a dual-carrier strike force, a level of firepower capable of ending a war or starting one. Getting the new Gerald Ford to the fight is a logistical marathon. Currently operating in the Atlantic Theater, the carrier, along with the relentless destroyers of Strike Group 12, must execute a high-speed transit. They will pierce the Strait of Gibraltar, navigate the narrow chokepoint of the Suez Canal, and descend through the Red Sea. It's a 3-week race against time. But why? Why rush a second carrier to a region already patrolling with a Nimitz-class supercarrier? In modern naval warfare, the most dangerous enemy isn't a missile. It is exhaustion. A single carrier crew cannot fight forever. Humans need sleep, machines need repair. To solve this, the Lincoln and the Ford will not take turns launching one plane at a time. Instead, they will trade entire shifts. This is the doctrine of the battle rhythm. But why do you need this battle rhythm strategy for a carrier strike group? Imagine a floating city with nuclear fuel and 5,000 people. Without a system, it's chaos. Simply put, battle rhythm is the daily heartbeat of the ship. It synchronizes the admiral's decisions with the sailor's sweat. There are 2 pulses. First, the operational pulse. This is the air plan. For 12 to 15 hours, the ship runs continuous cycle operations, launching and catching jets every 60 to 90 minutes. It is a deafening, non-stop assembly line of violence. Second, the command pulse. While jets fly, commanders cycle through a fixed schedule of intel briefs, targeting boards, and night orders. Battle rhythm turns 24 hours of chaos into a sustainable routine of war. If you lose the rhythm, you lose the fight. Still confused? Let me simplify this further for 2 carriers working together. From midnight to noon, the U.S. Abraham Lincoln owns the darkness. This is the night shift. The Lincoln, a veteran of the Nimitz-class, relies on her experienced air wing and battle-tested steam catapults to hammer targets under the cover of night. For 12 hours, she launches wave after wave, but as the sun climbs high, her shift ends. By noon, the Lincoln recovers her last jet and goes quiet, entering reset mode for maintenance and crew rest. But the enemy gets no reprieve. Because as the Lincoln winds down, the U.S. Gerald R. Ford ramps up. From noon to midnight, the Ford takes the day shift. Using her electromagnetic launch system, she generates a higher tempo of sorties, launching raids when visual identification is easiest. She is faster, more efficient, and relentless. The result is a suffocating embrace. The Lincoln haunts the night. The Ford dominates the day. Between them, they ensure that for the adversary there is no safe hour. There is only the noise of the next launch. But with 2 carriers, the Navy unlocks the continuous strike doctrine. As stated, the Lincoln owns the night, the Ford owns the day. By staggering their schedules, the United States can keep strike fighters in the air 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There is no reset. There is no pause. For the adversary, the skies are never safe. Then there is the raw volume of fire. This is the Alpha Strike. A single carrier brings about 50 strike aircraft. 2 carriers? That brings nearly 100 dedicated fighters to the theater. The radar programming and software on the Gerald R. Ford class aircraft carrier allow it to process massive amounts of information instantly. For example, when small killer drones are detected flying toward the flight deck, the system can quickly identify the most important threats, coordinate multiple weapon systems, and engage them by firing the close-in weapon system phalanx guns. This automated process requires much less manual control compared to older aircraft carriers, making the Ford class much more effective at neutralizing fast, small threats. That's the kinetic defense system. But what about cyber warfare? Well, we have this military-grade app that fights to keep you stealthy under the radar. Even if you are bombarded with all kinds of spam emails, jump calls, and all kinds of online breaches with our financial data. This data doesn't just result in spam and scam attempts. It can also affect your insurance rates and ultimately will lead into a loan denial just when you might need credit. Incogni helps protect your privacy by regularly scanning and preventing data brokers from re-uploading your information. You'll also get a clear, real-time dashboard to track the status of your data. As an add-on with Incogni Unlimited plans, you can gain access to this custom removal tool. Now, try searching for yourself, your full name, city, and state. You'll probably be shocked to see how many websites publicly display your private information. That's where Incogni comes in. Copy the link of any site exposing your information. Go to the custom removals tool, paste the link, and click submit. That's it. Then wait about 30 to 45 days, and just like that, your data is removed. So take your personal data back with Incogni. Use code AITELLY with the link below incogni.com/AITELLY and get 60% off on an annual plan. If diplomacy fails, these two ships can generate a pulse of power sufficient to overwhelm advanced air defense networks simultaneously. It is saturation warfare for the enemy. Too many jets targeting the Iranian, coming from too many vectors all at once. And let's not forget the hardware itself, of the biggest aircraft carrier ever sailed. How big? Well, for comparison, the Nimitz-class aircraft carrier looks almost the same, but the Ford's deck size is much larger. Let's break it down further. The Ford has around 25 decks or layers spanning from the bottom of the hull to the top of the superstructure, while the Nimitz-class has about 18 decks. These decks or layers span vertically through the ship's hull and superstructure, showing a significant difference in size and capacity. This size difference gives the Ford class an advantage. It typically carries up to 90 aircraft, while the Nimitz class generally accommodates around 60, though maximum configurations for both can exceed these numbers. That's roughly a 30 aircraft advantage. All of this is largely due to the Ford's larger, more open hangar bay and wider flight deck. To give you a better idea of how the Ford accommodates such a large number of aircraft, most are stored in the hangar bay, which is directly below the flight deck, the top level used for takeoffs and landings. The hangar stretches across roughly 2/3 of the ship's length and provides space for storing, maintaining, and preparing aircraft when they're not on the flight deck. The flight deck itself covers about 4.5 to 5 acres, roughly equivalent to 3.5 to 4 American football fields in length and up to 1 football field in width. This immense area allows the carrier to accommodate and operate up to 90 jets and helicopters at maximum capacity. But what's the strategy behind all this attack? Before a single missile leaves a launch tube, the war begins in silence. This is Phase 1, the blackout. The United States initiates an invisible strike designed to blind Tehran instantly. High above, Space Force operations, likely utilizing the classified Silent Barker constellation, begin jamming Iranian communication satellites. In seconds, the link between the Central Command in Tehran and the provincial IRGC commanders is severed. Simultaneously, U.S. Cyber Command triggers pre-planted malware within Iran power grid, a digital weapon similar to the rumored Nitro Zeus program. The result is catastrophic for the defense. Tehran plunges into darkness. Air defense radars flicker and fail, and the leadership is left blind, deaf, and panicked. Since June, Iran has hidden its surviving mobile air defenses, the Bavar 373 and Russian-made S-400s. To hunt them, the U.S. Navy sets a trap. They launch hundreds of ADM-160 MALDs, miniature air-launched decoys. To an Iranian radar operator staring at a chaotic screen, these look exactly like a squadron of F-16s or F-15s screaming toward the capital. The bait is taken. Iranian radars light up to track the invasion force. That is the moment they die. Flying silently in the shadows, F-35s and F-22 Raptors lock onto the electromagnetic signals of the active radars. They unleash this advanced anti-radiation guided missiles. The Iranian air defense network isn't just suppressed, it is dismantled. Let's look at Phase 3. With the sky blinded and the defenders dead, the heavyweights arrive. This is the core of the strike, Phase 3. Taking off from Whiteman Air Force Base in Diego Garcia, the B-2 Spirits approach the hardened mountains of Fordo. Since the first strike, Iran has poured deeper concrete. A single bomb might not be enough, so the U.S. Air Force executes a tactic known as double tapping. The first bomber drops a GBU-57. It's a massive ordnance penetrator. It slams into the mountain, blowing open the newly reinforced blast doors. Seconds later, a second bomber drops its NOP directly into the crater created by the first. The second bomb travels vastly deeper into the mountain before detonating. The resulting shockwave doesn't just damage the facility, it collapses the mountain from the inside out. The final phase marks the biggest shift from 2025. We aren't just hitting nuclear sites anymore. We're targeting the regime's survival. From the depths of the Persian Gulf, the U.S. Georgia launches a salvo of Tomahawk cruise missiles. Their targets are not factories, but people and command centers. IRGC barracks and intelligence HQs are struck to sever the chain of command, fueling the crackdown on protesters. Finally, to prevent a retaliatory strike on Israel or Saudi Arabia, the US targets the missile cities, the vast underground depots in the Zagros Mountains. The goal is to trap the regime's ballistic arsenal underground, burying their sword before they can swing it. The second strike is designed to be the final word. By combining cyber warfare, space dominance, and the heaviest conventional ordnance on Earth, the US creates a scenario of total overmatch. We also made a deep dive into the sea, air, and land components of the nuclear triad, so subscribe for more videos to not miss a beat.